Gaza Pier operations suspended indefinitely after it breaks apart by heavy seas. Well, who paid for it, how much, and how long did it last? And what useful thing did it do? The US constructed pier off Gaza is officially done. It's no longer usable. For the time being, at least, it's out of commission indefinitely after a series of problems and setbacks, the latest being inclement weather and heavy seas which have literally broken it apart. Well, obviously, as a proper study of how to build it strong enough was not made. That's a shame, isn't it? The damage from heavy seas has been enough to suspend its operations indefinitely, bringing it to an end the short-lived American-led effort to establish a maritime humanitarian aid corridor to reach Gazans. The pier was damaged and sections of the pier need rebuilding and repairing. Pentagon Deputy Press Secretary Sabrina Singh confirmed on Wednesday. The vital causeway portion was completely broken off and will have to be transferred and repaired at the Israeli port of Ashdod. The pier will be removed from its location on the Gaza coast over the next 48 hours and taken to the Israeli port of Ashdod, Singh says, indicating further that the repairs will take at least a week. 8 trucks were only able to roll off of it with maritime delivered aid over a period of a handful of days before it broke. So it was only used for a few days. This comes a few days after the last disaster involved a section of the same pier having broken off and drifted ashore an Israeli beach, which also saw at least 2 U.S. naval support vessels get beached as well in a somewhat embarrassing moment for the costly project. What is going on here? As of Tuesday, the Pentagon said the vessels were still stranded. Quote, I believe most of our soldiers were able to remain on the vessels and still are currently on them, end quote, Singh said during the press briefing. And continuing saying, and within the next 24 to 48 hours, the Israeli Navy will be helping push those vessels back and hopefully they'll be fully operational by then. I mean, what a shambles. CNN has described that the pier can only be safely sustain operations in waves that do not go over 3 feet. Well, 3 feet is nothing, obviously. And so long as winds are less than 15 miles an hour, which is nothing. In essence, conditions have to be ideal for aid to move from the sea to land. Because of this, even if the pier is repaired within a week, it might be weeks before, more before, an attempt can be made to move it back to its docking position. And CNN writes that heavier sea conditions delayed the deployment of the pier for several weeks as the system sat docked in the Israeli port of Ashdod, waiting for favorable conditions. So, only 3 feet high waves and only 50-mile-an-hour winds. I mean, that's ridiculous. Now, this is a $350 million project, which has already long been beset by controversy. Critics have pointed out that the grim irony and contradictions which abound in that the Biden administration has very publicly criticized the way that Israel's military is in conflict with Gaza. And Washington is funding the same effort ultimately to the tunes of billions. So the U.S. is providing the very weapons used to in this conflict, simultaneously pushing high-risky, unlikely succeeding projects like the U.S. Army-built pier for the sake of delivering humanitarian aid. All while there have been aid corridors available via land routes, but the Israeli army has blocked them. In other instances, Israeli settlers have raided the trucks in order to deprive Palestinians, they said. In short, the U.S. taxpayer is on the hook for both the humanitarian aid and others, even as all parties have seemed to essentially give up on finding a political solution or reaching a truce deal. And from what I understand, only 60 vehicles with aid support have used this pier. So we'll see what happens. But 3-foot waves and 15-mile-an-hour winds are, I think, a daily occurrence. And anything more than that, the pier will not last. So then why repair it if it won't be able to last again? And this is by Tyler Durden on Zero Hedge. Please leave your comments and thank you for your support. Finally, support my Patreon account. The daily posts are 5 videos daily, and they are totally different from what I have on my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for your support and that you find all my content so interesting. You'll find the Patreon account details in the description box below.